Have you ever felt that your connection with someone was so intense, so deep, that it seemed to have crossed through time? As if, even before you met that person, your heart already knew the way? Maybe you've never been able to explain it, but you've always felt it. It's as if there's a secret language between you two, something not found in words or gestures, but in presence, in silence, in the look that seems to see beyond flesh. And the strangest part, even when everything seems wrong, even when there's distance, silence, or pain, something inside you insists on staying, as if the bond were stronger than all of that. Maybe you've tried to walk away. Maybe you've even prayed to forget, but there's something about that person that keeps calling you, even in silence. And deep down, in the most intimate part of your being, you know, this connection isn't ordinary. It's spiritual. But what almost no one tells you is that connections like this, the ones that touch the soul and transcend time, are not always simple, light, or easy. They demand something. They shape you. They transform you, because they didn't come to bring you comfort. They came to prepare you. Not everyone will understand what I'm about to tell you, because this message isn't for everyone. Only those who have lived something deep, spiritual, and true will feel it. But if you've made it this far, it's because something inside you already recognizes this truth. Even if you've never heard it before, you can feel it quietly living within you, waiting to be named. Today, you're going to discover 5 things almost no one talks about when it comes to connections that truly last forever. And if you are one of the chosen, this will open your eyes to understand that the love of your soul may not have come to complete you, but to awaken you. Shall we walk together through this revelation? First thing, eternal connections are not comfortable. When we hear about eternal connections, we immediately imagine something light, magical, peaceful. The picture in our minds is of a calm love, full of harmony, where everything fits perfectly. But the truth is, the deepest connections don't come to make you comfortable. They come to transform you. Maybe you've experienced something like this. Someone enters your life, and suddenly everything inside you starts to shift. Emotions you had buried resurface. Old wounds begin to ache again. You even wonder, why does this person affect me so much? Why do I feel so exposed when they're near? And here lies the secret. These connections don't come to flatter your ego. They come to reveal who you truly are. They touch your fears, your insecurities, your shadows. Not because they want to hurt you, but because they want to heal you. It's as if that person were a mirror, a reflection of what you need to see in order to grow. They challenge you. They provoke you. Sometimes, they even irritate you deeply, but all of it has a purpose. That soul came into your life with a mission, not an easy mission, but a divine one, to help you become who God created you to be. And that, my friend, doesn't happen inside a comfort zone. There are days when the affection is strong, the connection is beautiful, the laughter flows easily. But on other days, it feels like you clash, like fire meeting wind. And as strange as it seems, that's part of it, because every true connection must pass through the process of refinement. Gold only shines after fire. The soul only grows after confrontation. And that's exactly why, so often, you feel peace, yet also restlessness, love, but also doubt, the desire to stay, and the fear of continuing. That's not confusion. That's a sign that something much greater is awakening within you. And the soul feels it. The soul knows it. So if this connection makes you think, feel, grow, even when it hurts, maybe it's eternal, and maybe you are exactly where you're meant to be, in the middle of the sacred process of becoming who you were born to be, guided by someone who came with the purpose of touching your very essence. Second thing, there is a silent recognition. There's something no one can truly explain, but those who've lived it know. It's that moment when two eyes meet, and suddenly the world around goes silent, as if time itself pauses for a few seconds just to make space for the reunion of two souls that already knew each other. There's no logic, no script, no control. It's a silent recognition. It's not about appearance nor about what's said. It's about a feeling that comes out of nowhere, yet fills everything. as if, without knowing how, you already recognize who that person is. As if your heart quietly whispers, "Ah, it's you." Maybe you can't explain it, but you feel it. Their smile brings you a peace you can't find anywhere else. Their scent feels familiar. Even their pain touches you in a way you can't describe. It's as if you carried their memory inside your soul. And in truth, you did. Because these connections aren't created, they're remembered. It's as if life were a great stage, and certain souls had agreed to meet here again, even if they got lost for a while. And when that reunion finally happens, no effort is needed. The connection simply flows, like a song you've never heard before, but somehow already know by heart. Many will call it illusion. Others will say it's longing or loneliness. But deep down, you know it's none of those things. It's not an obsession with the person. It's a memory of the soul, a memory of something the body hasn't lived, but the spirit never forgot. And this kind of connection, no matter how unexplainable, carries a calm certainty. You can try to run, to ignore it, to reason it away, but that person's presence keeps echoing inside you. Maybe right now you're thinking of someone you can't forget, no matter how hard you try. Someone who entered your life in a simple way, but stayed in a deep way. Someone you simply recognized. And if that's the case, maybe it's not just a coincidence. Maybe it's God, using the language of the soul, to remind you that some encounters don't come by chance. They come from heaven. Third thing, when the connection is real, it doesn't fade with time. It may change its form. It may go quiet. It may grow distant, but it never stops existing. It remains there, alive, pulsing, even when everything on the outside seems still. Maybe you're far from someone who marked your soul in a way no one else ever could. Maybe you don't talk anymore, haven't seen each other in years, or don't even know where they are. And yet, something inside you hasn't changed. It's as if time itself isn't strong enough to erase what was written spiritually, and that can be confusing, because the mind tries to understand, how can I still feel so much for someone who's no longer here? But the soul knows. The bond remains. And absence isn't always a sign of an ending. Sometimes, God allows distance, not as punishment, but as process. He separates, not to break, but to heal. It's like when you plant a seed. You bury it, water it, wait, but nothing seems to happen above the ground. And yet something is happening beneath the surface. Roots are forming, structure is being built, and only later, when everything is ready, does the sprout appear. That's how eternal connections work. Many times the separation is the dark soil where God is quietly working in both hearts, because there are parts that can only be healed in silence. There are wounds that only close with distance, and there is a right time for reunion, if it's part of the plan. So if today you miss someone who touched your soul, but you're not sure if you'll meet again, take a deep breath. Don't think it was all for nothing. If that bond is divine, it isn't lost. It's being transformed. And that transformation, no matter how painful it feels now, is part of the eternal nature of the connection. Because what comes from God doesn't break. It shapes. It doesn't disappear. It prepares. The reunion might come in a new form, more mature, more truthful, more aligned, or maybe the reunion will happen within, through understanding, healing, or release. Either way, the connection remains alive, and your part now is to grow, to trust that God's timing is different from yours, and that, in the end, everything that is real remains, even if it changes form. Fourth thing, not every divine connection was meant to live out a romantic love. Some were created to fulfill a mission. When two souls truly meet, something awakens in the world. It's not only about what they feel for each other, but about what they activate together. Maybe you've noticed it. When you're near that person, strange and beautiful things start to happen. You think bigger. You dream further. You feel capable of things you never imagined. It's as if their presence lights a flame inside you. And that's not by accident, because eternal connections aren't just about feelings. They carry purpose. Some are called to heal family stories. Others are placed side by side to bring something new into the world. A work, a message, a legacy, and there are those who come simply to remind each other of their worth, their calling, their faith. But the world doesn't always understand that. We were taught to believe that if it doesn't turn into dating, marriage, or a happy ending, then it must have failed. But in God's kingdom, success isn't measured by form. It's measured by the spiritual impact it creates. Maybe you and that person never had a typical relationship. Maybe you've come together and drifted apart many times, never fully understanding what it was. And yet, every time you meet, something changes. The atmosphere shifts. You touch lives without even noticing. You heal each other, sometimes with just simple words. That's mission. That's why some connections are so strong, because they're not just two people trying to be together. They're two souls trying to fulfill something they promised before they were born. And when you start to see it from that perspective, everything changes. You stop demanding so much from the relationship. You start asking, what are this person and I here to do together? What does God want to accomplish through this encounter? And when that question is asked with an open heart, the answer comes. Sometimes it comes as healing, sometimes as creation, sometimes as a meaningful separation, because spiritual love isn't attached, it's surrendered. It trusts that if there's a mission, it will be fulfilled, even if it doesn't unfold the way you expected. And that is freedom. Fifth thing, there's something you need to accept with courage and maturity. Not everyone will understand the connection you're living. Your friends might think you're exaggerating. Your family might say you're delusional, or that you're holding on to something you should have let go of long ago. You might have even asked yourself, am I going crazy for feeling all of this? But let me tell you something clearly. You're not crazy. What you feel is real. It's just spiritual. And the natural world struggles to understand things that can't be explained by logic. That connection that beats inside you. That feeling that refuses to fade even with distance. That invisible bond no one else sees, but you carry so intensely. It's not a product of your imagination. It's something happening in a place far deeper than the eyes can see. And that's why it hurts so much when you try to explain, and no one understands. It's like you're crying out from the depths of your soul, but others are listening only with the ears of the body. But don't blame yourself, and don't give up on feeling just because others can't follow the depth of your heart. Not everyone has the spiritual sensitivity to recognize what lies beyond logic. Not everyone has the awakened heart to handle this kind of love. And most importantly, not everyone was called to live this kind of connection. But you were, and that's enough. Sometimes God hides certain connections to protect them, because if they were too exposed, they'd be misunderstood, judged, even destroyed. So if you feel like you're living something no one else understands, know that it's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign that you're dealing with something sacred, and sacred things aren't shouted. They're kept in the heart. If necessary, stay silent before others, but never stay silent before God. He understands. He sees. He knows the purpose behind it all. And in the end, that's what truly matters, because it's not the approval of others that sustains an eternal connection. It's the divine touch that created it. Now that you've heard all of this, maybe some pieces have finally fallen into place within you. Maybe that connection that always felt confusing is starting to make more sense, because it didn't come to follow a normal script, it came to awaken you. You've understood that eternal connections aren't comfortable. They pull us out of our comfort zone and force us to grow. You've realized there's a silent recognition that doesn't need words, only presence. You've seen that time doesn't erase these connections. It transforms them, prepares them, matures them. You've discovered that there's a mission behind this bond, something far beyond what the world calls a relationship. And finally, you've understood that not everyone will comprehend what you're living, but that doesn't make what you feel any less true. Now comes the most important moment. What will you do with all of this? Because yes, this connection can last forever, but it doesn't depend only on the other person. It depends on your growth, your surrender, your willingness to mature emotionally and spiritually. It's not enough just to feel something powerful. You have to sustain it. And what sustains a divine connection isn't anxiety or control. It's faith. Faith that if this bond came from God, it will survive the storms. But also the maturity to understand that, for that to happen, you must grow. Grow in how you feel. Grow in how you wait. Grow in how you give yourself, without losing yourself. So I leave you with an invitation. If you feel you're living a connection no one else understands, if this soul lives within you in a way only God could comprehend, then write here in the comments, "I recognize this soul." Let's see how many divine connections are out there, quietly waiting to be recognized, respected, and guided by faith. You are not alone, and what belongs to God, no one can erase.